do that on Facebook where I can share it?
Yes, yes. So this is going to be a live stream on Facebook. So you can actually, if you grab your phone, you should be able to share the stream just like any other live stream. All right, good people. It is your boy H Cortez. You guys know what time it is, man. We're getting ready to start the show. Again, phenomenal female entrepreneurs, man. I'm super excited the show. Again, phenomenal female. We are going to do this thing live. I have another killer guest for you, man. And like I said yesterday, man, to understand that, you know, the world is missing the female touch, man, so incredibly bad that you guys are going to be blessed again today, as you were yesterday with some female entrepreneurs. So give me a second and I'm going to go set up the YouTube, and then I'll be right back. So give me a second, guys.
It's 7 o'clock.
All right, so yesterday we had a little trouble with YouTube, so I'm going to try to get this right on YouTube today. For some reason, it just wouldn't show my screen early on. But let me see if I can get it right now. All right, I think that's going to be right. All right, you guys ready? It's 7 o'clock, man. Let me get my intro music ready. I'm super excited about today's guest. I've been wanting to have someone of her caliber on for a while now, so it's great that we were able to get connected. So I think you guys are really going to be blessed this morning. So let's just go ahead and get this thing started. All right. So mute that. But YouTube, don't give me no problems this morning.
Put the hip shit on the shelf, cause the way the real weapons being real myself. Might not have to see the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf, cause the way the real weapons being real myself. Might not have to see the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money. All you guys are not being wealthy. Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, not having it is. Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. It's the love of money that's important. You know what? Money so much, why you get up and go to work? Everybody does get up on one of the things that one thing you got to say. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Mr. H Cortez.
Good morning, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the working class, where I do my absolute best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working men and women all over this great nation of ours. It is truly an honor, privilege, and a blessing to come to you guys each and every morning to let you know what it is that I have on my heart about helping you guys achieve the dreams and goals that you have. So good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Tammy. It is, like I said, it's a blessing and it's an honor. And this week, guys, if you haven't heard, we have a week of phenomenal female entrepreneurs. And I have a special guest standing by, chopping at the bits to give you guys some insight into her world of entrepreneurship and how each one of you guys can literally do a little bit more, or if you haven't taken the leap into entrepreneurship, how you can put yourself in position to take full advantage of your passions and your talents and those sorts of things, man, to really start to build wealth for yourself. So we're going to get right into it, man, because I'm going to bring this guest out. So as you guys know, if you're checking this out on YouTube, then do me a huge favor. Grab the link and share it on your favorite social media platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you like to share links. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do me a favor and hit the subscribe button so that you get notifications of anything that we do in the future. Same thing with you guys on YouTube. I know we're doing the Be Live TV, but it functions just as any other live stream. So you can share the stream, invite people specifically to the stream, and let's get more people involved in the conversation. I don't know if you can do the hearts and the thumbs up and stuff on this, but nevertheless, we just want to get more people involved in the show so that, you know, people want to start their day with some positivity, and that's what I try to bring each and every morning. So appreciate you guys if you share the stream and you invite other people to the stream. Today's show, as you know, whenever I have a guest, is always sponsored by that guest. So today's show is sponsored by Modern Busy Mom or LadyBossMoves.com. So you'll be able to check that out, and you're going to learn and hear from the founder and CEO of LadyBossMoves.com here in a second. But before we can get to that, I have to let you know exactly who this show is for. Just in case you stumbled on the show on accident, I'd like to let you know that this show is for risers and grinders only. If you're ready to get up, get out, and get something, then this is your show. This show is for those who are legacy builders. This show is for those who are tired of each generation having to start over and ready to make some tough sacrifices to set the next generation up in a better position to build wealth so we can transfer that multi-generational wealth down the line through our family trees. This show is for those who are like me. When I lay down at night, I think about what I'm going to do tomorrow, next month, next year, next 5 years to make sure that my great-great-great-grandchildren are proud to bear my last name. If that's you, this is your show. On the other hand, who is the show not for? The show is not for the pessimist. The show is not for the faint of heart. The show is not for that person who has a problem with money, right? A lot of people have problems with money. What is your problem with money? You think money is evil? Capitalism is a dirty word? You think wealthy people are jerks or snobs? Guess what? If you have that type of relationship with money, chances are you will never attract it to you. You will always repel it away from you. Because here's what you have to know about your subconscious mind. It will never allow you to attract something to you that you think is evil. If you think wealthy people are jerks, you'll never become one. Why would your subconscious mind allow you to become something you despise, right? So if that's you, this is not your show. You can exit stage left. And like I tell you each and every morning, if you've never seen a future billionaire before, I'm going to give you a big smile. I want you to take a screenshot, and I want you to hold me to it and watch me work. So you ready? All right, got a screenshot. Hold me to it. Watch me work over the next 5 to 10 years. And I know some of you guys are saying, you can't become a billionaire in 5 to 10 years. Ask Mark Zuckerberg. Ask the founders of Google, right? Don't take long when you know what you're doing and you got some good mentors in your life. So, but you can watch me work on the sideline, or you can get in the game with me. I advise you to get in the game with me. There's not a single billionaire on this planet that has got to a billionaire status without helping other people become billionaires along the way. So that's my spiel, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not going to be long because I'm ready to bring to you our guest for this morning. Again, a week of phenomenal female entrepreneurs. She is, like I said before, the founder of LadyBossMoves.com. And Lady Boss Moves is all about helping the modern busy mom go from escape the 9 to 5, do what you love so you have more time to spend with the people you love. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others, Miss Sharonn Cole. Good morning, young lady. How are you?
Good morning, Cortez. Thank you so much for having me on the show this morning.
Cool. I'm excited to have you on because you work in some of the areas that I'm passionate about, and some of the things that I try to encourage people in general to do, but more so those busy moms, because they have the ability to use technology. They have the ability to use some of the many gifts and talents that are blessed to women. I mean, women are so freaking talented, but sometimes they get caught up in just the day-to-day grind that they're not using those talents to really do something effective for themselves and their families and that sort of thing. So tell us, where did you get started? What kind of modern, busy mom were you before you got into entrepreneurship and started building your own brand and your own empire?
Absolutely. So a little bit about myself. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's where I was born and raised. And my mother was a school teacher, but she started off as a stay-at-home mom. And my father had his own. I think he had a gun store. So my father passed away when I was about 4. So for most of my childhood, I was raised by a single mom and my grandmother and things like that. I think a lot of people can really relate to the multi-generational family where,
Yeah.
sometimes, the woman has to pick up just for whatever reason. And I was exposed at a very early age to just the harsh realities of kind of being melanated in America, I guess if you could say it that way. There's a lot of us,
Right.
a lot of us have, we have an uphill battle from birth a lot of times. And so very early on, I was exposed to women just doing what they needed to do to make ends meet. And that really impacted me in 2 ways. At first, I told myself, well, I'm just never going to be broke. I'm just not. That's not for me. That's not going to happen. I'm looking at my mother work 2, 3 jobs. I'm looking at my grandmother work 2, 3 jobs, sell Avon, bake cakes, whatever. And they instilled upon me a very strong work ethic. But I also said, I don't like this. They're working too much. There has to be a better way. And so put my head down. I did what I was supposed to do, went to college, and then came out, went into the workforce, and I was in tech. So my background and my degree is in computer information systems. And in that space, there's not a lot of women in tech. And it
Women,
definitely even
first and foremost, women, yeah.
absolutely even smaller amount of melanated women in tech. It
Right,
was
exactly.
interesting. So corporate America, it taught me a lot, and most of which it pushed me to entrepreneurship. Because what I found is even though I had all of the education, I had all of the skills. I mean, I worked. I probably came in at a lower pay grade just to kind of be amongst my counterparts. What I found is because Cortez, it wasn't enough. It wasn't
Yeah.
enough when I got in the environment. I didn't have the credibility. I didn't look like, the people that were being promoted. And it took a little bit of time for me to say, wow, something's got to give. And so then my next move was I thought, okay, well, I just need to get more education. So I went back to school and I got a master's degree in organizational leadership and transformational change. And I thought, now I'm going to have a seat at the table. All I got to do is just show them a couple more degrees and I'm in there. That
Right.
kind of made things worse because it's just corporate America isn't necessarily set up for everybody, right? It still kind of shapes the supremacy model that I think we're all more than familiar with.
Yeah.
And so probably when I was 16, just to take you a step back, I had a very interesting interaction. I was whining and complaining at the video store. I was kind of being a tire kicker, and I ran into a customer that I can't remember his face, but I remember what he gave me. He gave me 2 books and he told me to keep my head up. And those 2 books were Smart Money Moves for African Americans by Kelvin Boston. I think it's by Kelvin Boston. And the second one was Think and Grow Rich by Dennis Kimbrough and Napoleon Hill. This one was called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice.
The Black
And I
Black,
became,
yeah.
I love that book. I became familiar with all of the stories I just didn't know, the things that maybe weren't taught in mainstream public school. And I thought, it really planted the seed that, maybe I can make a go at this, but I didn't really know, what I was going to do. So fast forward back to maybe 2004, 2005, I lived and breathed in Black Enterprise magazine. I read all the stories and I said, okay, if they could do it, I could do it. How much do franchises cost? How much does this cost? But kind of about that time, I had racked up about 40 grand in student loans. And so I felt trapped. And I was making good money, but I kind of lost my time. And so then you throw in, getting married and having kids, and we were making good money, but the time was gone. And now we felt suffocated because now we had mortgages and cars and kids and daycare and all of those things. And we really had the thirst for freedom. And this was more of I want the financial freedom and the time freedom, but then we're stuck in how to get there. So we made a transition from Milwaukee down to Northwest Arkansas. I took a job as a project manager for a very, very large retailer. That I don't know if I should say their name. They're kind of scary. They're a large retailer with a blue logo where people shop.
And you're talking retail. A retail giant in Arkansas.
That's right. So we took a pay increase, and it was good. Both of us were employed, my husband and I, but we were exhausted. The retail, especially corporate retail, is a level of intensity that if you haven't experienced it, it is hard to describe. And so, we're making good money. We're making six figures, but our kids were suffering big time because mommy and daddy were just beat when we got home, exhausted. And probably about 2013, I started looking for a way to get out. I said, I got to get out because otherwise, I'm working 60, 70 hours a week. And this is not my idea of getting ahead. I went from just not having money to having money in no time, it just didn't make any sense. I wasn't able to spend time with my babies. So my journey began with multi-level marketing, and I had a product that I was super passionate about. But I had a little bit of trouble just with my personality with the recruiting model. It's for a special breed, and I'm extremely introverted. So I could do it, but it was sucking a lot of my extroverted. I have a little amount of extrovert, and it took everything. And again, I was going to work, right, and I was doing the parties, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It wasn't the way that was really going to work for me. And so I got into selling online. I dabbled in a little eBay, had some success. I graduated up to Amazon, had some success there. But what I really wanted to explore and what I had been exposed to is really how to truly build your own brand. As a e-commerce seller, if you're selling on eBay or Amazon, you're still an entrepreneur. It's still a way to definitely make money, but you're a seller on somebody else's platform. So you're not able to build your own community. You're not able to build your own list. And if anything should go wrong, someone can take that away from you. And about a year ago, I'd say, I was exposed to kind of creating your own brand in your own store. And I dabbled in that. With retail, especially with e-commerce, there has been a lot of industry disruption. You have Walmart's closing stores. You have Macy's closing stores. You have Limited and Gaps, and people are closing up shop because it's more convenient and you can get really, really great deals online. So I actually created my own brand. I developed my own store, and there were rumors of layoffs, and it's kind of been building for a while, right? As with Amazon as a giant, they're not messing around. And I took a week off of work, and I said, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna put my head down. I was determined, and I sat in a coffee shop, and I just figured it out. I just went in and built it. And within the next 2 weeks, that unsaid retailer said, well, you know what? We think we're a little heavy, we really need to find some new, I don't even remember what they said, but they laid me off. But the magical part was that I had already replaced my income, and I was probably at the desk smiling a little bit too hard because they said, we don't think we need her anymore. And they were right. And I was able to transition, out of the cubicle and back into the coffee shop where I built my business. And it was great. It was great. And I just for a couple of months, I sat there and I watched the money come in, and it came in while I was sleeping, but something was missing. Something was truly missing, and I really missed interacting with people and helping people. And I was able to build the automated income, but I had a thirst for something more, and that is when I found my coach, Markwell Russell, and we had a conversation, and I told him, I said, I'm doing okay, but I feel stuck. Something's still not right. And he was able to really introduce me to some powerful strategies that was going to allow me to take, what was really working for me, and then transition that into a program that helps moms, extremely busy moms, escape the overwhelm and fatigue of, living check to check or all of those things, and truly create, the income and the time freedom so that they can spend more time, with their kids. And that was one of the most pivotal moments of 2016, because it allowed me to, as introverted as I am, I love pouring into individuals and truly seeing them succeed. And that 2016 was definitely an intense year, but it was probably the most fulfilling, crazy, exhilarating year of my life. And now I'm carrying that into 2017 and truly working with moms to help them get out there. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be feast or famine. It doesn't have to be money or time. It can truly be both. And that has really become like the passion of my life.
Awesome. Good deal, man. Well, I don't know why this thing seems to echo. It takes a little while to, I think, catch up to that both of us are speaking. So I think we're okay now. But you mentioned a lot of cool things, and we're going to get into a little bit of a Q&A dialogue here and then in a few minutes. I'm starting to format my show a little bit differently. So I've got a segment where I read a book excerpt, and I'll get your thoughts on that book excerpt that I'm going to read as well. But you talk specifically about helping moms, right? And I read your story in your bio, and I know that you are like me, that I encourage people to really take a look at what their passions are, because I believe you're given passions by your creator, because your passions will ultimately lead you to your purpose in life. But unless you can find a way to make money from them passions, we typically walk away from them because we have to chase a dollar to keep the lights on. So what do you say to women who are looking at, know they've got some things that they're passionate about and haven't quite figured out how to monetize those passions? What are a couple of tips that you can give them to get them on the path to at least investigating how to monetize their passion, or some things that you may know that they can do right away to start monetizing that passion?
Absolutely. That's a really good question. I really recommend that moms get real serious about why they're doing what they're doing. So for me, going to a corporate job is the same reason why I have chosen entrepreneurship. If it's not about taking care of my family or moving my family forward or creating a better life for them, that I can ensure that they're going to be safe in 2017, because we have some challenges there, then I'm not interested in doing it. And when you get real grounded and real sure about why you do what you do, then you can take an honest look at, is what you're currently doing really getting you there? Does it meet all of the criteria? If it's not, if you have to structure your entire life around your work instead of structuring your work around your life, you're probably in the wrong industry.
Wow.
And it's because it's kind of a different, the model that our grandparents used, and my grandmother was born in 1927. So I have a lot of her mindset. It was work until you can't work anymore. She was born in a time where we weren't even integrated, right? But I think that the go along to get along mentality is outdated. It's not serving us, and we need to find ways to navigate around the very real challenges, instead of kind of expecting other people to help us out. They're not interested in helping us out. They've proven that to us on more than one occasion. So I think as we stop seeking that mainstream acceptance and really partnering together, we have to give each other a break and realize that we have a lot of challenges to overcome. But when we do that together, we can win. It's all about being collective. We're so smart. We are, especially as melanated women, we're striving, we're going to college, we're breaking barriers, but we're kind of we're in the wrong space. When we get together, we collaborate together, we can really move mountains. We just have to get solid on the fact that we're enough. A lot of us feel like we're not enough, and we are more than enough.
Yes, I certainly agree with you there. And it's that old adage that you're doing all of that with the pursuits in education, with the pursuits in corporate, all of that to realize that, it's kind of like if you're going to race to the top of the ladder, then you want to make sure that ladder is landing on the right building, right? And I think that's what we're doing. I don't think the ladder is leaning on the right building especially for our sisters, because we know that you guys are by far, statistically speaking, the most educated. And when I say the most educated, I'm meaning with degrees and that sort of thing. We know for a long time that you've always been the most intelligent and the smartest, but the most statistically educated group of people on the planet are Black women. Right? There's no other group of women who have more advanced degrees, no other group of women or group of people, period, who have more degrees and that sort of thing. But the challenge becomes, are you doing that for the right reason? You talked about, the definiteness of purpose, right? I know that came from Think and Grow Rich, right? And then you also talked about when you structure your entire life around your job, and if it's not getting you the benefits that you want out of it, or in other words, if you take an internal assessment and realize you're not in the right vehicle, right? I use the scenario of my Ferrari and my Pinto, right? Both of those vehicles will get me to California from St. Louis. One will get me there a little faster and a little bit better style, but they will both get me there. However, if my destination is Hawaii, neither one of those vehicles will work, right? So I have to then jump into a different vehicle. So talk about a little bit about some of the struggles that you have to overcome personally to make your business and your family life work, and then some of the things that maybe not you yourself have to overcome, but women in general may have to overcome if they're going to take this leap into entrepreneurship.
The biggest hurdle that I have had to overcome was my confidence. I think, and this really drives to even when we're little girls. Everything around us is favoring, European America. The length of your hair, the color of your skin, it's a constant. You really need to be more like this, and if you don't have that, please spend every last dollar that you have to try to get it. And when you're in that kind of environment where it's all around you, you can kind of lose hope. You can lose hope and confidence in yourself that you really do have what it takes. And I think that's truly that's not by accident. And I think that, like you said, when you're in the right vehicle, when you have the right space to innovate, and you definitely, when you surround yourself with other people who, are going in the same direction, you can really carve a way for yourself. Working with a coach working with a coach has been life-changing, more so in that I knew, amongst my corporate counterparts that and I don't mean to be like an elitist, but they were not as smart as me. And I'm like, why am I next to you? Why are you getting promoted? And
right,
these are my ideas. These are what's actually happening. And in knowing that there must be more, and then getting in a space where I could build that up, that was groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and it sounds so simplistic, but seriously, when if you don't have the right level of confidence in what you can achieve, you kind of lost before you started.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think
I agree.
the key is getting around people who are going places, moving and shaking, because we can truly help build each other up, as we once did, back in the 1900s when we had, Black Wall Street. That was phenomenal. And I didn't even know about that until a couple of years ago. And I thought, wow, well, if they can do it, we can do it. And if you even believe if somebody else can do it, then I can do it, then I think, that's exactly, the formula you need in order to get to the next step, just to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Okay, exactly. So that's a good one, confidence. And I truly believe that because we're in a male-dominated society, that women are sometimes internally confident, but don't want to let that light shine because they know the ramifications, right? Like you talked about being in a male-dominated IT field where, come on now, you guys just you just can't hold a candle to me. But at the same time, I know if I shine too brightly, that's going to be a problem as well. If I don't shine bright enough, they already got two strikes. I'm a woman and I'm Black, so that's two strikes. So I got to shine bright enough without shining too bright, because so you're in that catch-22. So I think entrepreneurship for women, that's where there is no ceiling. There's not only is there not a glass ceiling, there's no ceiling at all. So I got two things that I'll do the other one later. So let me read this excerpt real quick for you. I know as an entrepreneur that you have to be involved in some sort of productivity, time management type thing, because you got to understand how to manage your time. So we've been this month. I told my listeners that I'm doing 5 books a month because billionaires read 5 books a month, right? So this one is Eat That Frog, because I'm trying to become more productive and get out of the habit of procrastinating, putting things off. So this is what we've been reading this month, along with a couple others. But the excerpt for today is the law of forced efficiency says there is never enough time to do everything, but there is always enough time to do the most important thing. So I'll read it one more time and I'll get your thoughts on that. The law of forced efficiency says there is never enough time to do everything, but there is always enough time to do the most important thing. So talk about that in your efforts to be more productive as an entrepreneur, and how time management plays a role and how you balance time, life, and all that kind of stuff.
I always go back. I always go back to my why, and one of the things that I really took away working from my coach is to start the morning off super early. If I'm not mistaken, many millionaires or people who really succeed at a high level, they're up before 5 a.m. And and I used to be a morning person before I had kids, and then they kind of wrecked all of that. They wrecked all of that for me. But really having that time first thing in the morning to set your mind, be intentional about your day, it seems so simple, but it's so effective, because once you're up and you have so many demands on your day, especially as a woman, where help your husband or your spouse or your whoever find their keys, the kids can't find their shoes, they might be groggy, all of that, and kind of until you close your eyes, especially women, we're givers. We're okay, let me do this for you, and this for you, and this for you, and this for, and you have to kind of be everything for everybody, really stealing some time to yourself and really meditating on your goals. I like to read the scriptures. That's super important to me. I got to have that quiet time so that I can be very intentional about what I will and what I will not accept for the day. And then it helps me navigate any challenges or struggles wherefore I'm just not as impacted by things that I thought were challenges as much as I was, anymore. Just really being thrown into the fire and not taking some time out, even if it's 30 minutes to yourself, you're definitely doing yourself a disservice, and you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you're starting off on E, it's all down here from there. And I think that as women, we have to give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves. And that doesn't just mean you go get your hair done. All of that stuff is great, but the mind, you got to take care of your mind, because a lot of us are all, that our children have. And so we have to, while we, maybe not all of us, but, for my mom and for my grandmother, they had to be strong. And if as moms, if we find ourselves in that situation, it's important that you take care of yourself first.
Yeah, I think that is really really key. Quiet time. I'm learning more about that myself, and it was Marquel, your favorite entrepreneur's favorite entrepreneur, right? Who I learned about the 5:30 club. He's like, man, if you're not in the 5:30 club, 5 o'clock club, then you're messing up your chances of becoming wealthy. And so he did a series on kind of what his day to day is like. He's up early, gets his workout in early. He has his quiet time, his meditation. He sets his day and that sort of thing, and he attacks, his biggest task, his income producing activities first, and so on and so forth. So that's extremely powerful. So I'm glad you brought that to light. So I want to ask you another quick question and get your thoughts on this as well. I had a list of questions here on my phone. Okay, so what we talked about confidence and you being a little introverted. I want you to answer this in twofold. Outside of confidence, what else was holding you back personally? And then what do you think is holding women back generally from jumping into entrepreneurship?
Outside of confidence. Outside of confidence, I would also say that I didn't learn very good money management skills at home, and I was bringing in money, but I was making a lot of silly mistakes. And my husband and I were getting to the end of the year when we were getting our W-2s, and we're like, how? How do we make
Right.
so much money and have nothing nothing left over? And I probably could have made the jump sooner, but I was living well above my means, and
Hmm.
really getting serious about what it is that we wanted to accomplish. We're like, we got to cut the fat. We don't need this. We don't need that. We got real creative
Hmm.
about um, maybe getting rid of a car note, dropping down to something 10 years old, and just so that we could get ahead. And it gave us the thirst for, okay, what's next? And we began to build momentum. There might have been a second question in there if I didn't cover it all.
Yeah. So what do you think are holding women back in general from making a leap into entrepreneurship?
Trying to be everything to everybody, for sure. I think
Uh,
that we need to look a certain way. We need to have certain things. And if those things and those criteria are not met, that's very much tied to our self worth. And we spend a lot of time trying to prove to other people with our material possessions that we're good enough. And unfortunately, the people that we're most interested in proving that to are trying to do the same things to us. And so I think that, especially as a Black woman in America, we are spending our time trying to impress each other when we need to be holding hands with each other so that we can all get ahead. That's a huge trick. And um, when I realized that, and I just deviated away from the mainstream and kind of got quiet, and I was able to think, I was like, no, I don't need all of this, or I don't need all of that. And it's not about not liking or appreciating nice things. It's about not letting that dominate everything, so that
mhm.
you truly can't get ahead. And I think, being willing to step away from what everybody else is doing, that's when you're really going to get a huge breakthrough.
Yeah, I found that for myself, and I think that women, um, in general and in large part, like you said, being everything to everybody becomes who they are.
Hmm.
So if you tell somebody, a woman, that you know what, if you allow them grown folks over there to be grown, and you focus on you and you take some time for yourself, you can probably start to hone in on those passions. You can probably start to start to identify the purpose. I like the quote that says there's two important days in your life: is the day you were born and the day you figure out why. And if you're running around trying to make sure everybody else is okay, chances are you'll never figure out why you were put here. And even more detrimentally is you will start to believe that you were put here to do just that,
Hmm.
right? And we know that's not the case. And that's one thing that my wife struggles with. Is she has always been, her love language is acts of service. So therefore, people who have that as their love language, that's how they express love, by serving others. So she's always serving others and never really takes time for herself. So that's why she struggles to identify her passions and to pull herself away from them and others to really start doing things that she loves. And I keep telling her she's going to be better for it because she, like yourself, extremely intelligent, extremely bright, extremely gifted in a lot of different areas. But like you said, if you're spending your time doing things for everybody else and not taking that quiet time for yourself and starting to do that internal assessment of who you are and what you really want out of life, then it becomes difficult. Startling statistic, ladies. Did you know that 82% of all women who make over $100,000 per year are doing that from home, mostly from a home-based business? 82% of all women who make over six figures are doing that from home and via some sort of home-based business. So tell them again, Sharonn, why they need to be in a home-based business, why they need to be. So you obviously use technology because you're online and that kind of stuff. Why should women be unafraid of marketing online and using the internet to build wealth? And how has that helped you in being a modern busy mom, buy some of your time back?
Absolutely. One thing that I really, really love, and this is coming from that very white male dominated society. Nothing wrong, nothing against them, but having a seat at the table. I find, especially in building online retail stores, it's very difficult to discriminate against somebody you cannot see, right? And in order to really thrive in our society, you have to study the masses. And when we do that, and we're able to provide them with things that they want, it's refreshing because you don't have the, okay, do you have on a nice enough suit? And, is your hair laid and all of those things? You can think, you can innovate, and there's no ceilings on it. That was probably one of the most interesting and curious things that I found about being online. And then, kind of with the vehicle that I use, you can partner with other moms in other countries. So I have moms that are in the Philippines. I work with even guys. It's not all women. I even work with guys who are in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and all sorts of other people who just want to have the same style of freedom as I do, and we can work around the clock and get things done. So I'm accustomed now to being able to play at the Children's Museum, with my babies. Sales are coming in, and then I have other members of my team who are helping me place these orders and get things shipped out around the world. And I for the first time, I'm like, wow, now I can actually think about what I want to do, who I want to do that with. And it's a kind of freedom that I wish my grandmother would have been alive for her to see, because she worked at the hospital and she baked cakes and did everything at the church and all of that for 39, 40 something years. And she thought, the key to getting ahead was you got to work 1,000,000 hours. And before she passed away, she had Alzheimer's. I wish I would have been able to allow her to see that, wow, all of the work that she put in, all those extra hours, it actually did, result in her flesh and blood being able to do better, truly do better, not just, be on a higher form of payroll. And probably what I'm most passionate about, making money is cool, but I love to see other women get there. I don't like struggle, especially amongst my people. And that's just, it dominates everything that I do, because I know that if I could do it, then I can help somebody else do it. And then they can go on and really pour into their children, instead of allowing mainstream society to kind of put us in the school to prison pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that, and that to me is, my whole thing. There is in Missouri, they just passed a law that went into effect 2017 that says children who fight at school will automatically be classified as felons if there is an injured party at stake. And I did a show on that, and my whole thing is I am the reason I do what I do is so that I can build an army of financially educated and financially well-off individuals so that at the end of the day, when you're fighting a war, all wars are financed, right?
Oh yeah.
Who can write a check to help us fight some of the wars that we have to fight with more than 2 or 3 zeros? For the most part, not many. And those who have the means to are not willing to. So we have to start better coming together with those who have the consciousness to help them gain the capital and the resources. And those who have the capital and the resources, we have to increase their consciousness a little bit so that we can really start affecting our community in a positive way. But the time is really, really flying, Sharonn. So do me this favor. If you were talking to my wife, for instance, and she was thinking about going down the road of entrepreneurship, give her 3 tips that she can use today or tomorrow to kind of get her started along that path. 3 tips to get someone who is scared to death, shaking in their boots about entrepreneurship, but know it's probably intrinsically the right way to go. But what are 3 tips that you can give them to get them off to a great start or help them set up that solid foundation to get them going?
Definitely. The first tip that I would give her is to believe that she is worthy enough to expect more and have more. I think we need to give ourselves permission that there's nothing wrong with wanting more. It doesn't make us greedy. And it's truly what we need, especially for it to show our children that you don't have to be limited. I remember my coach Marquell, he had a conversation, I think it was with his nephew, on, ways to really make tons of money. And he was heartbroken as, he responded that, well, I mean, you can either, I think he said something like steal or play ball or rap. And our kids believe that, and that is financed by people who don't look like us. And so for me, and one thing that I think I may have left out, what really transitioned me into not just focusing on myself and my family, but doing both, was in the summertime when we saw, a lot of our men get gunned down, just get shot like dogs, and all of that stuff playing out in high definition on social media. I was convicted, and I thought to myself, how can I change that? How can I change that? And what is my piece? And the way statistically that our households are set up with, 70 something plus women, not having the support of a spouse, not being in a home where they can move these babies forward. They're the society that is pushing us into these prisons and doing all of the things that are really not new. They're counting on that, right? And so I would tell a mom like me, you got it. It's up to you, and it's not just enough for you to keep the lights on. We have to make the same sacrifices that our ancestors made, and maybe go without until some people know, so that we can make sure that these babies have income and generational wealth to walk into. Because if not, I mean, they're coming for us, and that's not a joke. This is my way of ensuring I'm doing my part to create a path, for those who want to walk off. That's number one. Number two is, let's see. So it says to have the confidence, never give up. We're probably some of the toughest people on the planet. I don't care what the reports look like, what they say, and any of that stuff. No one has been, served the biggest raw deal, in life, as women, and still we just keep getting up. We're built so tough, and we need to own that. That's number two, that we're worthy and have the confidence in order to get it done. And number three is we got to stop fighting each other. We're not the competition, even though that's what a lot of mainstream society is trying to make it set out. We are all that we have, and so it's important for us to reach out, even if we don't like it, even if we feel that we're misunderstood. We have to we got to band together, because if we don't, they're picking us off one at a time, and they're not messing around. They're not messing around. So we have to do what's necessary, the same way that we did in the 1500s, the 1600s, the 1700s, the 1800s. We have to get it done, and we have to make those sacrifices in order to make sure that the ones are going to make it.
Awesome, awesome. I told y'all I had something for y'all today. Sharonn, it has been a pleasure. We're not quite done yet, but man, I just had to jump in and say, you said a few different things that really stuck out at me. You know, grandma worked, baked, was involved in the church and the ministry and all of that kind of stuff because she didn't understand leverage, right? So what the internet allows you to do is leverage technology, leverage the skills of other people that you can collaborate with, not compete with. My whole thing, everybody knows on this show who follows me that I say almost every show is about collaboration and not competition. And when we can get there, man, it's gonna be lights out when we realize that, hey, that we can make more money collaborating with one another than we can competing against each other. And all you have to do is look around at mainstream society, and they're starting to see that. You're starting to see the Time Warners and the Disneys merge, and you're starting to see the Facebooks buying Instagram and all these other platforms because why compete? Why compete when there's so much more together and to be gained when we can collaborate? The other thing you said is, being true to self. I spent the first 26, 27 years of my life trying extremely hard to convince the world that I really was who I was pretending to be. And I think a lot of us struggle in that area. But when you're pretending to be something, the way God set this thing up is you're going to have people cross your path that you're supposed to connect with, but they might miss you if you're pretending to be something else, right? Because they're looking for the genuine you, but you could be in their face for 20 years and they never know it because you're pretending to be something else. So you miss a connection that's supposed to help you drive your purpose on this planet because you haven't gotten comfortable with yourself. So tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and what your program is all about and how you can help those super busy moms who got the career, who got the family, who got the kids, who got the obligations at the church and the youth program and everything. How can you help them leverage technology to buy some of that time back so that they can give more of it to the ones they love doing what they love?
Absolutely. My life passion at this point is really working to help super busy moms who have everything going on, everything is on their shoulders. We help them to escape that overwhelm and fatigue of kind of being everything to everybody. I think we can still serve and also serve ourselves, and we do that, by helping them get out of this check situation and truly build an income online so that they can spend more time with their kids. Absolutely. What I have is a free training that's going to show them a very simple and effective strategy that I personally use to create a full-time income online without having to sell, recruit, or do home parties if that maybe isn't your thing, and truly leverage their time. I believe the link will be below. And in order to get access to that, go to secure.ladybossmoves.com/registration. And for a limited amount of time, I'll be giving that away. So I show you everything, exactly how it is done. And then there's really an opportunity to have a conversation to see, how can we get you from where you are to where you want to be at a very rapid pace. And so I invite, any ladies, all ladies, to come and check that out, get that free training, and then let's see how we can, collaborate together to really help move it forward.
Awesome. So I will put the link in the chat. For some reason, it's not allowing me to put it in now, and when I hit comment, it's not going in. So I will put it on the top of the description of the video as soon as it goes live. I told you guys. See, and this is really what the world is missing. This is really what the world is missing. You can't look at nature and see the balance and the duality in everything and then create a lopsided world from the way our society is built and make it male dominated. And every time It never fails. Every time we get our butts in a sling from this male dominant, male ego, this testosterone driven thought process, thinking, and all of that stuff, what tends to happen? They let a woman in, she comes in, settles everything down, it balances everything out when we should just be building a balanced society to begin with. And that's one of my goals, and that's why I wanted to do this entire week of phenomenal women entrepreneurs, because as I said it in the beginning, you guys are by far the most creative. You guys are by far the strongest. We can talk about physiology, that you got a pain threshold 10 times greater than men. But that's why we pretend to be so tough, is so that we can fool everybody into believing that we are the stronger vessel. That is not the case. You guys have been taught that you're the weaker vessel. That is not the case, right? So I love what you brought to the table, not just from the entrepreneurial standpoint, but like myself, also bringing the community awareness aspect of what we do for ourselves personally has so much more of a greater implication and impact to the society at large than just uh, getting ourselves out of debt or getting ourselves to a financially stable place. We know the type of people that we are, is that when I get my ish together, then I'm going to help my neighbor get his ish together. And once we get a community of people with their ish together, then we can fight some of these fires that are going on. You mentioned the school to prison pipeline a couple times. You mentioned, this unity that we have going on one with another. Those things are solved when we start to be confident enough to stand on our own 2 feet, and I'm no longer intimidated by you when I'm standing on my own too. I'm only intimidated by you when I'm off my rocker, when I'm out of balance. So, any parting thoughts? We got 5 minutes. Anything you want to say before you get out of here that we didn't mention, that we didn't cover? Any programs that you got coming up? Any speaking engagements? How can people follow you on social media and all that good stuff?
Oh, right. Yeah, so you can find me at Modern Busy Mom just on Facebook. And also, we have a private group called just Lady Boss Moves, where we're really sharing some detailed information that's going to help, just heighten your awareness on what is possible. I think that a lot of times we're not sure, we're very skeptical, and we don't think that, money can be made outside of someone giving us a paycheck. It is absolutely possible. And you're able to get out of overwhelm, fatigue, just bills, when your income potential is not limited by somebody saying you're only worth $10 an hour, $12 an hour, $13 an hour. That's ridiculous, right? You're worth so much more than that. And so, yeah, to pop into that group, Lady Boss Moves, and yeah, just come and check us out, and then we'll really work on creating a customized plan to help you get from where you are to where you want to be at a very rapid pace. I just love meeting women, inspiring women, and just helping get them forward. I'm all about execution. What do we need to do to get you from where you are to where you need to be? Because I want my children to have peers to look around and to really take our people to the next level. They need to see us doing it first. So we really need to clear that path. And yeah, I just look forward to meeting each and every one of the inspirational women that are watching, and really let's get together. I'm not anyone special such that I should be couldn't put on a pedestal. And why I love pouring into others is together we're unstoppable, right? That's why they haven't
Yes,
killed us off yet. So let's
exactly.
really take this to the next level here.
Good deal, good deal. And for me, another reason that I go so hard to teach others, because I got 5 sons, right? My 5 sons are going to need somebody to marry, and I prefer they marry somebody who's financially astute, somebody who is an entrepreneur, right? Somebody who knows a little bit about consciousness, and why building wealth is not only doable, but why it's so necessary for us, and why ownership is important, and all of those things. So that's the real reason that I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning preparing for this show, is because I want to make sure that my great great grandchildren have equal counterparts to marry. As I pour into them what it means to own and that sort of thing, then I want other families around the world to be doing the same thing. So when we join forces as two wealthy families, because we've seen it in times past, when you have two wealthy families join forces, it just, I mean, they create an unstoppable movement. And we want to keep this thing moving. So generational wealth is what it's all about. But you can do it in a way that it doesn't take 80 hours a week to get it done. So when I talk to the fellas, I say, fellas, there is a way that you can do your job as a provider and a protector better when you make money more efficiently, right? If it takes you 60 hours to make a month's worth of a week's worth of income, then that's not as efficient as you can. And then you're away from your family. So you're providing, but are you protecting when you're away from them 60 hours a week, right?
Mm.
So you can make money more efficiently, then you can become a better provider and protector of your family. Sounds like you got the same idea for women, to put them in a position to be better moms, better wives, better friends, daughters, aunts, nieces, cousins, and all of that kind of stuff by getting money as an issue out of the way. So guys, that is our show. Please give it up to my girl, Sharonn Cole. Knocked it out of the park like I knew you would. When you told me your mentor is Marquell Russell, I said, well, yeah, it's going down. I got to get on the show because I know what he teaches, and I know where he is with his Infinite Success University and how that all works, man, because he's a powerful guy. So guys, if you don't have mentorship, if you don't understand how to confidence, quiet time, money management, leverage, definiteness of purpose, the right vehicle, don't structure your life around a job. If you can't structure your life around something you love, then you're probably in the wrong vehicle. We touched on so much. So you guys are going to want to get the replay. The audio will be available on Stitcher in a couple days as a downloadable PDF, downloadable MP3. So just give me a couple days to work on that. But Sharonn, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us on Talking Money in the Morning Live. I'm your main man, H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the working class. Until I talk to you guys tomorrow, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. Peace out.